Let's break down the turning points that changed this person's life and reputation. Bill Gates didn't just build a company, he rewrote the rules of the global economy. From a high school computer lab to the world's richest man and eventually its most influential philanthropist, his life offers a masterclass in strategy, risk, and pivot points. In this breakdown, we look past the headlines to see how his decisions actually worked and what they mean for us today. Before the billions, there was a specific set of circumstances and choices that gave Gates an edge. Understanding his early years helps us see how opportunity meets preparation. In 1968, Bill Gates had access to a computer terminal at Lakeside School, a rarity at the time. This allowed him to log thousands of hours of programming while most of the world didn't even know what software was. This early 10,000 hours advantage wasn't just luck, it was a relentless pursuit of a tool he saw as the future. It teaches us that identifying a high-leverage tool early can define a career. Gates met Paul Allen in high school, forming a partnership that balanced Gates's business aggression with Allen's technical vision. They didn't just code, they looked for market gaps, like their first venture, Trafo Data, which analyzed traffic patterns. While that first business wasn't a massive success, it provided the blueprint for how they would eventually structure Microsoft. Choosing the right partner is often about complementary skills rather than identical ones. Dropping out of Harvard in 1975 was a calculated risk, not a reckless whim. Gates saw the Altair 8800 on the cover of Popular Electronics and realized the software window was opening. He didn't leave school to find himself, he left because he had a specific product, BASIC for the Altair, ready to go. This move highlights the importance of timing over traditional credentials when a market shift occurs. Microsoft's massive growth wasn't just about better code, it was about the most famous contract in business history. Here's how they secured the desktop. When IBM needed an operating system for their PC, Gates didn't just sell them the software, he licensed it. He famously kept the rights to the OS, allowing Microsoft to sell it to other hardware manufacturers. This created the PC clone market and ensured Microsoft profited from every machine sold, regardless of the brand. It's a classic lesson in retaining intellectual property rather than taking a one-time payout. The transition from text-based MS-DOS to the graphical user interface of Windows was a make-or-break moment. Gates realized that for computers to become household items, they had to be intuitive and visual. By bundling applications like Word and Excel into Office, he created an ecosystem that was nearly impossible for users to leave. This platform plays is why Microsoft became the standard for business globally. Gates was known for personally interviewing early hires and looking for high IQs and mathematical ability. He fostered a high-pressure culture where work-life balance took a backseat to shipping products. While effective for growth, this culture also created internal friction and public scrutiny. It shows that while talent is the engine of growth, the culture you build dictates long-term sustainability. With massive power comes massive scrutiny. The late 90s were a turning point where Gates had to defend his empire against the government. When Netscape dominated the early internet, Gates pivoted Microsoft to be internet-obsessed. He bundled Internet Explorer for free within Windows, effectively crushing Netscape's business model. This move was brilliant from a market share perspective, but catastrophic from a legal one. It serves as a warning that aggressive competition can eventually trigger regulatory backlash. The Department of Justice sued Microsoft for antitrust violations, alleging the company used its monopoly to stifle innovation. The trial featured a combative Gates in depositions, which hurt his public image significantly. The court eventually ruled that Microsoft was a monopoly, though a later settlement prevented the company from being broken up. This period highlights the risk of ignoring the legal and political landscape during rapid expansion. In 2000, Gates handed the CEO reins to Steve Ballmer, moving into a chief software architect role. This transition allowed him to focus on technical vision while distancing himself from the day-to-day legal and administrative battles. It's a reminder that even founders must eventually change their roles as the needs of the organization evolve. Knowing when to step back is as important as knowing when to lead. The second act of Bill Gates' life is defined by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, applying a business mindset to global problems. The Gates Foundation treats philanthropy like a venture capital firm, focusing on measurable outcomes and ROI. Instead of just giving money, they invest in specific interventions like vaccines and sanitation that have the highest lives saved per dollar. This analytical approach has revolutionized how modern charities operate. It teaches us that even in giving, strategy and data are essential for impact. One of Gates's most ambitious goals has been the total eradication of polio. By funding massive vaccination drives in hard-to-reach areas, the foundation has brought the disease to the brink of extinction. This project demonstrates the power of long-term commitment to a single, difficult goal. It shows that with enough resources and persistence, even the world's oldest problems can be solved. In recent years, Gates has shifted much of his focus to climate change through breakthrough energy. He argues that we need green premiums, the extra cost of clean tech, to drop to zero for the world to reach net zero emissions. He invests in risky, long-term technologies like nuclear fusion and carbon capture. This reflects his belief that innovation, not just regulation, is the key to global survival. To understand the success, we have to look at the personal systems Gates uses to process information and make decisions. Twice a year, Gates goes into seclusion for a think weeks to read papers and contemplate the future of technology. He completely disconnects from the daily noise of the office to focus on deep work and long-term strategy. This habit led to some of Microsoft's most important pivots, including the Internet tidal wave memo. It proves that scheduled reflection is a requirement for high-level leadership. Gates is a prolific reader, often finishing 50 books a year and sharing his reviews publicly. He uses reading as a way to cross-pollinate ideas from different fields like biology, economics, and physics. This multidisciplinary approach allows him to see patterns that others miss. For anyone looking to improve their decision-making, constant learning outside your primary field is a high-value habit. Through the Giving Pledge, Gates and Warren Buffett have encouraged hundreds of billionaires to give away the majority of their wealth. Gates has been vocal about his belief that extreme wealth brings a responsibility to tackle the world's most difficult problems. While his wealth remains controversial to some, his framework for effective altruism has changed how the ultra-wealthy view their legacy. It asks us all, what is the ultimate purpose of our success? Bill Gates' life shows us that while early advantages matter, it's the ability to license, bundle, and pivot that builds a legacy. Whether you're starting a business or managing your career, focus on retaining your intellectual property and scheduling time for deep reflection. Don't just work hard, work on the right leverage points that scale. If this breakdown of Bill Gates' strategy helped you, subscribe to Famous Life Bio for more deep dives into the lives of the world's most influential people. We focus on the decisions that matter so you can learn from the best. Share this with someone who enjoys the real story behind famous people.